On October 25, 2012, Universal Studios announced that Arnold Schwarzenegger would star in Legend of Conan. The movie was described as Conan's Unforgiven, and would serve as a reboot/sequel to John Milius' 1982 movie Conan the Barbarian, ignoring every Conan movie released since then. It was originally said to be released in 2014, but as of the time of this recording, almost 3 years after that statement was made, there have been outwardly few signs of progress on the production. In this video, we will look at what has transpired behind the scenes of Legend of Conan and what has held up the movie. Following the disastrous reception of Millennium's 2011 reboot of Conan the Barbarian, Millennium head honcho and chief culprit behind that movie, Avi Lerner, allowed the Conan movie rights to revert back to Paradox Entertainment, the owner of the Conan rights, in May of 2012. At this point in the timeline, Arnold Schwarzenegger's tenure as the governor of California was already over, and it was clear he was planning a comeback in Hollywood. Universal Studios, the distributor behind the 1982 Conan the Barbarian, seized the opportunity and tapped both Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Conan movie rights, and announced Legend of Conan on October 25, 2012. The movie was to be produced by Universal Studios writer and producer Chris Morgan, most well known for the Fast and the Furious franchise, and then CEO of Paradox Entertainment Fredrik Malmberg, who we have previously discussed at Midnight's Edge. See the link in the description for further details. Talks between Universal and Paradox about a sequel to the 1982 Conan the Barbarian started as early as in the spring of 2012. And when Legend of Conan was announced in October of that year, they agreed on the fundamental terms and conditions. However, from Paradox Entertainment's financial statement from 2012, available in Swedish from their website, we learned that the final dotted line had yet to be signed at the time of the announcement, and would not be signed for another year. The litigious Stan Lee Media, a company that has nothing to do with Stan Lee himself, engaged Paradox Entertainment in a frivolous lawsuit over the Conan rights. During this time, Universal seemingly took a less active part in the development of the movie, while the proverbial axe was still hanging over the movie rights. On October 21, 2013, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals dismissed Stan Lee Media's appeal, making it clear in no uncertain terms that Stan Lee Media never had a case. With Paradox Entertainment emerging as the clear victor, Universal signed the long-form agreement with Paradox Entertainment in late 2013, and announced Andrea Berloff as the main writer of Legend of Conan. Stan Lee Media would later appeal their loss to the Supreme Court, where they would ultimately lose again, with no further possibility of appeal in May of 2014. The Conan rights unquestionably belong to Paradox Entertainment. While the ongoing Stan Lee litigation contributed towards delaying talks and the production, the outcome was never really in doubt. There exists, however, speculation that Universal might be having second thoughts about proceeding with the movie for other reasons. In Paradox Entertainment's annual statement for 2014, then Paradox CEO Carl Malinder expressed frustration that the movie had not entered production during Universal's initial 18-month option. This option was extended for another 18 months in March of 2014. Still, the Paradox head honcho maintained that the Paradox producers were at times the only ones actively pushing development forward, and expressed doubt that Universal would put the movie into production anytime soon. This was a contributing factor in Paradox, which had been financially struggling for a long time, deciding to restructure their business and allow Cabinet Holdings to take over their assets and license agreements with Universal, among others. While Universal has never publicly expressed doubt about proceeding with Legend of Conan, the speculation from outside observers goes that the movie no longer looks like the surefire hit it did when Universal announced it in 2012. At the time, Universal was still dealing with the after effects of a long line of box office flops, so bad that they were mockingly referred to as a bomb factory. With few hit franchises in their portfolio, they needed something successful. Reuniting Arnold Schwarzenegger, who at the time had not yet had his comeback, with the role that first made him a household name, seemed like a surefire hit. Between then and now, things have changed. Universal has acquired Legendary Pictures. They have $2 billion franchises in The Fast and the Furious and Jurassic Park, as well as the Despicable Me franchise, with the Monster Universe and World of Warcraft over the horizon. Meanwhile, Arnold Schwarzenegger has had his comeback, and every single movie he has headlined has either underperformed or outright bombed. Sinking $100 million plus into another Conan movie might not be as tempting a venture for Universal in 2015 as it appeared to be in 2012. Even Terminator Genesis, where Schwarzenegger returned to his signature role, underperformed significantly in the US in its opening weekend, and is now dependent on international earnings to save it. But let's, for the sake of argument, assume that Terminator Genesis earns enough that Universal is comfortable giving Legend of Conan the green light. What kind of story would we expect? The movie was always going to feature Conan the King, as teased by the end of 1982's Conan the Barbarian. However, fans of the original Conan stories, or of the comics hoping for an adaptation of Hour of the Dragon, also published as Conan the Conqueror, would appear to be out of luck. Continuing the tradition started by John Milius, Legend of Conan will yet again use only the names and settings from the original stories by Robert E. Howard, but otherwise veer off in another direction. Fans of the 1982 movie who might think that this means Universal will instead film John Milius' script for the long-since cancelled King Conan Crown of Iron are also, however, out of luck. While nothing has been officially announced at this time, there are indications that the story in Legend of Conan will be based on a famous non-Howard sword and sorcery novel. This novel is heavily rumored to be Legend by David Gemmel. The synopsis of that book reads, Druss, captain of the Axe, was the stuff of legends, but even as the stories grew in the telling, Druss himself grew older. He turned his back on his own legend and retreated to a mountain lair to await his old enemy, death. Meanwhile, barbarian hordes were on the march. Nothing could stand in their way. Druss reluctantly agreed to come out of retirement. But could even Druss live up to his own legends? If this rumor is true, we can expect that the story unfolding on screen will have been changed considerably from Gemmel's novel over the course of many rewrites. The most notable change being Druss, captain of the Axe, being rewritten into Conan, king of Aquilonia. Arnold Schwarzenegger himself led credibility to this rumor in a recent press junket for Terminator Genesis. NerdReport.com reports that Schwarzenegger stated that while the script still needed some tweaks, he was happy with it, and liked the idea of Conan having been king for a long time and then just threw it all away and went into retirement and went off into the mountains. Then of course he gets asked back, because of some hideous and unbelievable things that are happening in the kingdom. So that's when the battle begins again. Schwarzenegger's summary of the story sounds beat for beat like David Gemmel's Legend, which might be why Universal has chosen the title Legend of Conan. We will keep you up to date with informed analysis of the future of Conan on film as events unfold. For now, the future is not set. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you can catch all of our upcoming videos. For more podcasts, news, and reviews, check us out at midnightsedge.net and follow us on Twitter at midnightsedge. Also check out our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/midnightsedge.